What is real? There are objective truths, but the world is complex, and we use filters to help us make sense of the world. These filters shape our realities. We think that we are rational and that we take in good information and make good decisions. But the work of Daniel Kahneman in his book, Fast and Slow Thinking, shows us that actually we decide first, and then we use information to justify what we have already decided. It is kind of a trick we play on ourselves. When our grip on these decisions becomes tighter and tighter, we might come to believe that I am my thoughts, or I am my beliefs. The work of Jonathan Haidt in The Righteous Mind shows us how self-righteous most of us become. From the beginning of civilization, humans have split into tribes and teams. Sports are very important, like the Vikings versus the Packers, though we can eventually get to a place where we have an us versus them mindset. Like in history, the Catholics versus the Protestants. And this sort of thinking has produced some of the very worst atrocities in history, where humans come to imagine the attributes of an enemy and what that enemy will do. And we protect at all costs an inside or group utopia. Another way to live in the world is to see it in perspectives. We can realize that there are different perspectives. We can maybe even share something in the middle, and we can accept that we will never be inside another person's brain and heart. This requires us to radical acceptance and that the world is uncertain. And sometimes we just don't know. It requires us to accept doubt sometimes, and that you can change your mind and come to accept that some things are what they are, and we cannot demand the whole world change as to what we want it to be. The work of Peter Rollins, a philosopher, has been very helpful to me in this area. In the 1980s, politics changed. The Congress used to meet and afterwards gather in the rotunda, a common space where families and spouses could chat and have drinks, but that ended in the 1980s. Also in the 1980s, the Republicans changed tactic from a policy tactic to an obstruction tactic. and split the two sides, the left and the right, even more. The news became more split. The legacy media, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and all the other legacy media that followed from there, the left began to see these as the guardians of truth. The right experienced Fox News and cable network and many alternate sources of news, and experienced spins and lies and quite a mess of multiple sources of information. Many on the right realized that news was not real, while the left became more and more isolated in certain views. The right were forced to see and hear both sides. It's just the way it was. Academics, big tech, and institutions like the Aspen Institute changed rules of journalism and school board governance. See the work of Michael Schellenberger, an independent journalist. All of these institutions created a false world. A false world can also be called gaslighting. What false world are we talking about? Well, perhaps it is that Hitler is coming or is here, and that your friends and family are Nazis and you should shun them at all costs. The creator of the comic strip, Dilbert, helped unlock the workings of the mechanics behind this process, and helped me to realize that the main feature of the trick was the fine people hoax. Even Snopes said it was a hoax. Nietzsche, over 100 years ago, warned us that politics would replace or become akin to religion in our society, and that the result would be a totalitarian. A totalitarian society. And now we can see the results of this with censorship and disinformation. See the work of independent journalists, Matt Taibbi, Mike Bentz, Glenn Greenwald, for more information. Come back, friends. Come back to free speech and free access to information where the best ideas win. Come back to classical liberal values. For the revolution resides inside your own heart.